Welcome to myGSPN Live. You're here with Robert Brown.
And Jose Rodriguez.
And this episode is brought to you by GardenGrocer.com. We want to start off, like always, on Tuesday, Thursdays with our top 25 Central Florida area baseball rankings. So let's take us off.
Let's take us off. Now, to start it all off, the top 25 baseball rankings for high school teams in Central Florida. I know it's a mouthful there. But let's start it off with the one we always start off with, which is Montverde.
Montverde's number one.
Montverde is number one. Again, no surprise there. But to go with the other teams, there's a little bit of surprises in the top 25 this time around. Now, the number 2 and number 3 have not changed, which is Avant-Garde Academy and Haggerty as well. But number 4, which is a surprising story, which I mentioned last time on the other rankings, was Bishop Moore.
Yeah.
Bishop Moore, I said previously that they're a private school. They don't play as many competitive schools because they're a private school. Now, this week and last week, they've been playing good competitors that are in the rankings as well for Central Florida rankings, and they went out there, competed, and won.
Yeah, and they moved up. They moved up 4 spots in our rankings, going from number 8 last week, or even on Tuesday, to number 4 now. So
which who knows? They might even move up and kick down Montverde.
I mean, it's hard. Like you said, Bishop Moore with their district schedule and who they play. It's tough for them to have that strength of schedule. But, when they do get to play some of the teams that are on our top 25 list, then when they're winning, you have to move them up. You can't just say, oh, they're playing small competition.
You have to. You got to give credit where it's due, pretty much. They're playing good ball, and we got to give that credit.
We've got number 8, Osceola from Kissimmee. They actually have moved up a spot as well.
Yeah, they moved up. And right behind him is Apopka. Apopka actually stayed stagnant throughout the 25 rankings. They're still at number 9. They have a nice record of 13-6. And tonight they will be hosting the Wekiva Mustangs. So make sure you tune in on Monday for all the highlights and videos that we will have for
and
that
you'll
time.
Actually be attending that game. So we'll have myGSPN will be out there to take videos, get some highlights going. So we can definitely have some good material to show you from that game on Monday.
On Monday.
Continuing down the rankings, number 14, 15, and 16. They're pretty much the same. They've all moved up 1 spot since our last rankings. And that's 14 Timber Creek, 15 Cypress Creek, and 16 Buchholz. They've had solid weeks. They not too much, but they didn't do anything to drop them down. They're good teams, solid teams that if they stay consistent, they'll be those 3 clumped together. But I think they can continue to move up slowly throughout the rankings.
Yeah, Rob, it's not like they've been playing bad.
Not at all.
All the teams have actually been playing really good. So it's been really tough on the teams that maybe did not get to play the same day of the week that the other teams played, and that's why they moved up, and others remain stagnant or moved down at least 1 spot. So who knows, maybe next week when we do the rankings again, it might be little or no surprise if the other teams that stay stagnant will be moving up that 1 spot that they deserve as well.
Definitely. And then we have number 17 has dropped a little bit in our rankings. That's Ocoee, another local area, really close to this Claremont area. You never want to see somebody drop, but they haven't had the greatest of weeks, but I expect them to bounce back and get better, get stronger.
Yeah, again, like I was saying, Ocoee was supposed to play on Wednesday against Dr. Phillips, but, Mother Nature wasn't having it. So the game was rained out, and they did eventually get to play against Dr. Phillips, but it wasn't on their side, So again, when they do get to play again, hopefully they get that W and move up in the rankings as well.
And the last thing we want to talk about in our rankings is number 23, Winter Haven. This is the first time we've seen them in this rankings, and I'm actually pretty surprised to see them. Happy to get the shakeup, but wasn't really expecting to see Winter Haven at 12-6 move this fast and this high in our rankings.
Exactly. Winter Haven actually kicked out Tavares High School out of the 25 rankings on the 23rd spot. Tavares, like I said, not that it's all these teams that are here, not that they're playing bad. It's just that some teams are playing better. And it's simple. There's a lot of high schools in the Central Florida area, and we all got to give credit to all those high schools putting in work as well.
When you find your groove as a team, it's hard to stop you. And some of these teams, kind of like the Winter Haven, is they didn't hit their groove early in the year. They might have struggled, but they're starting to hit their groove and play better baseball. So
yeah, and Winter Haven actually needs to get a little bit more credit. I'm actually happy that they actually made it into our rankings because they have a tough division. They got to go against the likes of George Jenkins, Lakeland, all in that area, which is pretty tough teams to play. And being them having such a good record in their division and overall as well says a lot about them.
And you got to think, George Jenkins we have at 5th, and Lakeland we have at 7th. So, they're not over there playing nobodies.
They're not playing Little League. They're playing good sports. They're playing good baseball.
Keeping in baseball, we have a little scandal that kind of rocked the Central Florida area this week with Calvary Christian, and they got a couple of their wins got taken away from them.
I mean, this is again another school that has a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to say that they like to do their recruiting, but they do. That's what they do. And out of all the 12 games that they've won, they took those out because some of their students or baseball players didn't fill out a special form that enables them to make the full transaction to play with them complete.
Yeah.
And it made it seem as if they were playing with illegal students,
yeah.
which wasn't really the case.
I mean, these weren't kids that were, 3 years older. I should be in college. I should be.
No, they were regular high school kids.
They made a mistake where they didn't fill out the paperwork properly. They didn't, dot all the I's, cross all the T's. And, I mean, these are high school kids who, they don't even read the information when they sign up for an email or for Facebook. They just click accept. You expect them to read all the information.
Yeah, it just says, I'm playing ball. Where? Okay, let's go.
And that's all you want to do. You're happy. You play baseball, you're going to get to go to a nationally ranked team, make them even better.
That's true.
Yeah, but, it's a sad day to see them take all their wins away. The kids get affected more than anything, so you never want to see that. But, you want to keep it fair for everybody.
Yeah, hopefully they bounce back, and this shouldn't be a big dent coming down on the road for this team. They're known as a winning team and as a winning school, so it shouldn't affect them at all.
Yeah, definitely. We've got American Heritage. They beat Park Vista in the Broward Palm Showdown. This is two teams where we don't know much about Park Vista, but American Heritage is a huge team, a huge school in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
They've got sports, basketball, football, everything they've been dominant in, much like a St. Thomas or a IMG. So really no surprise here that they walked away with the win.
And it was a close win too.
Yeah.
As you can see in the score, it was a 3-2 win. The top teams from Broward and Palm Beach County, so it was a really good team and a good game to watch. Both sides of the play had a lot of talent, and it was a good pitching matchup as well. As you can see, the score was a lowering score.
Yeah,
it's not like it was a blowout, 11 to something or 12-0. It was a good concentrated matchup. And, both teams executed, but one just executed best at the end.
And, I mean, pitching one out. The starting pitcher ended the game very, very strong for American Heritage, retiring his last 7 batters and actually striking out 6 of those 7. So, when you've got an ace on the mound that's going to put guys and retire them that fast, you get, the opportunity to go win games, not only from the defensive standpoints, but he lets the guys go hit again.
You have to. And one thing that a pitcher needs to do is trust his defense. And if you're going to go out there and work, you got to just throw your pitch and make sure they back you up. Yeah. And that's exactly what they did.
But with 6 strikeouts, he kind of handled it himself a little bit. We've got a few other local area games to talk about. The Villages versus Tavares. We had an 8-9 game there where Tavares coming out with the win. This game actually went into extra innings a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I played 1 extra inning.
Yeah.
Both teams, the defense wasn't as strong as we all hoped for, but the Villages had 4 errors in the game, and Tavares had 3 errors. Personally, I like to think that the errors came into play in the 7th and 8th inning for the Villages when they came to score 7 runs, almost, blowing the save for the guy pitching for Tavares. And it was pretty bad, but they prevailed, won, and got the outs.
Definitely. And both teams getting 10 hits, so, bats were flying and balls were being connected all over the place. So
yeah, it was a great game, not from the defensive standpoint, but from the fun part, which is seeing balls get rocketed all over the park. And that's just baseball.
We also had Forest versus Buchholz. Buchholz comes out with the win in a 2-1 game. This was a little bit more about defense than the previous game with Tavares, but 2-1 is a typical baseball score.
Yeah. Again, a great pitching matchup.
Yeah.
The 2 guys that pitch for Forest and Buchholz, they both came in out there and just threw their pitch, trusted their defense, threw strikes consistently and didn't walk too many batters. And that was the end point of the game, and that's why it was such a low-scoring game. The batters actually came through and managed to get runs for their pitchers. Had to take specialized at-bats, going deep in the counts, batting 3 and 2 with full counts, and playing smart baseball.
Sacrificing for their teammates.
Exactly, strategical baseball.
Yeah. I mean, that's a part of baseball. I think a lot of people don't realize the, sacrifice bunts, sacrifice flies, where, it doesn't look good on your stat sheet, but, do whatever you can to help your team win.
Yeah, and again, people forget that baseball is a big team sport. That's why there's 9 different positions, and all 9 different positions have something different to do in each. So, it's a team effort, and everybody has to do whatever they can control.
And now transitioning from baseball into our production team's favorite segment, Rob's Corner. Right now we want to talk about one and dones and kind of what they're doing in college basketball and the landscape of not only college basketball but professional basketball. Everybody knows about John Calipari. He was at Memphis with Derrick Rose. He's at Kentucky where he's had Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. A lot of players that are in the NBA right now that people look at and it's like, oh, these are some of the elite players, that are in the game and ever. Anthony Davis may go down as the greatest player ever with the way that he plays the game. I don't think so. I don't think he will, but he's a fantastic player. People were mad at Coach Calipari because, they thought it was a bad thing. You take these kids and you promise them 1 year, do what you're supposed to do, go make a lot of money in the NBA. What about the education? There's a lot of things that go into that. And coaches like, Coach K at Duke, he wasn't on board with that to start with, and he's moved on and got kind of under this one and done type mindset, and he's become the best at it. He's the best recruiter. He gets R.J. Barrett. He gets, the top guys.
You being as a professional basketball player, you're playing overseas. What is your take on that? Do you feel like a one and done is good for the students, or?
I think if you're gonna not let the kid go from high school, then yes, the one and done is the best system you can have. I feel you should let the kid go from high school.
So you're saying if you're gonna make millions and you're gonna make millions, just go.
Yeah. There's been 44 high schoolers that have left high school and been drafted into the NBA draft. 3 of them selected number 1 overall. We've got guys like Kwame Brown, who, Kwame was a bust. LeBron James in 2003, who, he's arguably the greatest player ever.
Yeah, LeBron James is nice.
Dwight Howard in 2004 were all, number 1 overall picks. So, 2 out of 3 high schoolers picked number 1 turned out to take their teams to NBA championships. So I think that's, guys that say, oh, they're too young, they're not ready,
It's still in the league providing a lot of entertainment.
Yeah, so. Guys like Reggie Harden and Daryl Dawkins were the first to do it. Thon Maker, that's with the Milwaukee Bucks now, is the latest of guys to do it. But, the list is giant. Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, Kevin Garnett, J.R. Smith, Amari Stoudemire, they all skipped college to go straight to the NBA. That's no longer, possible with the 2006 collective bargaining agreement. You've got to be 19 and 1 year removed. But I disagree with that.
Yeah, the stuff gets confusing after that.
It really does. Another option kids are doing is going prep now. So instead of, going to college, and it's because they can't just skip, they go to like a Hargrave, they go to a IMG, a Montverde, anything that's got a post-grad year where, it's kind of like a 13th high school year.
And that's what the Ben Simmons and what's the guy that plays for Brooklyn now? He was in the Lakers.
D'Angelo Russell.
D'Angelo Russell as well.
Their situation was a little, they could have done the prep year at Montverde. They decided to just do the high school team.
Exactly.
If they had stayed 1 more year on their prep year, they could have, you would have never seen them at Ohio State and LSU. They would have been straight to the league and still been number 1 and number 2 picks the same way they were.
Yeah, they had that choice. That's a good thing about preps.
Definitely. And, the last option now is, just skipping college, skipping prep, leaving America, and going overseas. The Ball brothers are kind of the big name in it because social media's, hyped them up. But
yeah, the dad is hyping them up.
The dad he's done. That's a good job for his marketing, but
A little extra?
Yeah, it's a little extra. You guys like Brandon Jennings and Emmanuel Mudiay have already gone overseas. Brandon Jennings was in Italy. Mudiay was in China, respectively. And they've had great NBA careers up until this point. I mean, without, their dads all over the place and hyping everything up. But if you can get your kids the exposure and get an 11th grader on a professional team, I mean, he did a great job for his kids. Now,
I think so.
The question is it good to force the kids to go to school even? I don't think so. I think if you have the ability to come out of high school to go one and done, go make the money.
And perform, because we gotta think about performing.
Yeah.
Not just all talk, because they could have said the same thing about LeBron. Oh, he's good, he's this, and he performed.
He performed. And now, with that situation, your body's only, able to work for so long. If you're lucky, you're 40, 41, and still playing in the NBA, you've played a career longer than 90% of the guys.
That's
and
true.
when you're done, basketball, baseball, soccer, your minds are still fresh. You can go back, and now you have money where you don't need a scholarship. I can go pay for my own education. I can pay for my kids' education, because you took the opportunity where your body could make that money, and you went and played your sport.
Yeah, well, in that perspective, I definitely agree with you.
Definitely. That's our show. For any student athletes that would like to be featured on the show, send us in videos and contact us at videos@myGSPN.com. Again, today's show was brought to you by Garden & Grocer. For any grocery needs in the Disney Resort area, make sure to download our app or to order on gardenandgrocer.com. Thank you, and as always, create a player profile at myGSPN.com and tune in on Monday for more news and highlights. I'm Robert Brown.
Jose Rodriguez.
And we'll see you later.
Thanks for tuning in. See ya.